Hey guys, it's KJ.
John.
And I was supposed to say and Winnie. And Winnie is napping, so she will not be joining us today. But if you like today's video, please
Give it a thumbs up.
subscribe if you're new.
Ding that notification bell.
And leave us a comment. Now, this is a part 2 of a 2-part video. We were going to do one long video, but we decided to break it up on what, John?
Genie Plus, and also a lot of the changes that have come to the parks and that are coming to the parks later in 2020 and 2021.
Right, so if you haven't watched part 1, we will link that up here and down below, so make sure you check that out. But for part 2, we're just going to talk about, like John said, some of the changes that are upcoming or have recently happened. If you want to know more, stay tuned. Aside from Genie Plus and the Lightning Lane, another big change, as you guys all know, is there's not going to be a Magical Express anymore. It's gone. So we were thinking about this, that we're not sure when our next trip will be. We're hoping it's early spring of 2022. So at that time, there will not be a Magical Express. So we're like, how are we going to get to the park with a 6-month-old, a 2-year-old, and ourselves? So the kids need car seats. Now, would we take the bus? They released the pricing for the Mears bus.
The Mears bus, yep.
So they released the pricing for that. You know, it's somewhat affordable, but it used to be free, you know? So it's just something else that we're now going to have to pay. So for those of you that want to know more about the pricing, we will put a link to that down below rather than get into that. But so now you're paying for that service. But let's say you didn't want to use the bus service. You wanted to use, you know, Uber or rent a car. So if you're using Uber, for us, something we were talking about is, do Ubers have car seats? Like, we've never taken an Uber with children in car seat age. So, by the way, if you guys know anything about that, let us know in the comments down below, because we don't know anything about taking an Uber with small children. So that's just something that, you know, is a factor. And then if you do decide to rent a car and have car seats, parking is no longer free at the resorts. So that's something else that you would have to pay for. So you're either paying for the new bus service, or if you rent a car or you take an Uber, you're paying for that as well. And again, if you rent a car, you're paying for parking now. Or if you're just someone that was driving down, you're paying for parking. That's going to impact a family like us. Again, going with small children who need car seats, you know, we're thinking we kind of have to take the bus because we're not sure of the other options.
I'm going to miss the Magical Express too, because, you know, even though sometimes we had a love-hate relationship with Magical Express, because you know, obviously whenever you got there and it was, you know, a long wait for your bus, or once you got on the bus you had to sit, or you ended up being the third stop on the bus. It was still a free complimentary service.
Right, because you could have all those things happen, but now you're paying for it.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. And they also would, if you were checking bags, they would also, back in the day, used to bring them to your room. Mm-hmm. If Mears provides a better service, meaning that the waits aren't as long and you kind of one stop to your hotel, then obviously paying for it, you know, I probably still would just rather have the free service.
Yeah. But
if you get a better experience in paying for it, then it's not quite as bad, I suppose. But if it's the same service and you're paying for it, then that's just complete disaster. And once the kids are out of car seat age, then we're probably just going to Uber it there, because I'd rather just go directly to, even if it costs slightly more.
I think it costs a lot more, actually, based on
some of the projections that we've seen.
Right, yeah.
It also depends on how large, I guess, your family is, right?
Right. And also, how much does do you value your time? If you get there and, you know, the service, well, it's not like Magical Express anymore. Like, you can't just go, like, I think it's to book your time. Mm-hmm. So you can't, can you book it in, I don't think you can get there and book it, I think it's to book it in advance, is what I'm trying to say. So if that's not the case, and you guys know that, let us know in the comments down below. But everything that I've read, it seems like you have to book it in advance. So it's not like you can be like, oh, there's not like a long wait, let's do this. Or like, oh, it's going to be an hour. It's like, I'd rather pay for Uber and get to the park sooner. So. And
who knows, by the time kids are out of car seats, there's all this talk that there's going to be a train that will take you to the downtown Disney area. I don't even know if that's any more convenient. You know,
have all your bags
once you get to the downtown Disney area, then what?
Yeah.
Then you got to hop on like a downtown Disney bus that would normally be taking a resort, and people have bags. So I don't know how that's going to work either.
Yeah, I don't think that would be that great. But
we're going to see how all this.
That's like way down in the future.
Yeah.
Something that is not in the future are your magic bands. So for John and I, we never really used magic bands. So for this is not something that's really impacting us. Even though, so now you are now charged for your magic bands. They're no longer free. It used to be that those solid color ones, those were free. If you didn't get them in advance, you got the standard gray one at your hotel, but they were always free. And now there's a fee for them. And it started off where there was a fee for like the decorative ones, which that's fine. If you want to pay extra money to get one that has some kind of design, like that's great. But at least you still have the option to have these solid color plain ones. Now they come with a fee. You still can use old ones, and we have some of them lying around somewhere. We've gotten rid of some of them, but the point is, like, we don't use them. We never really did. So for us, that's not really a big deal. As cast members, we have cards that we swipe in, and back then, our fast passes were on there. It's like, do you really even need magic bands? Like, to me, that one is not really a big deal. Like, we never put like our credit card on there. We just didn't use them. So I think sometimes we use it earlier on as a room key, but then you were able to use your phone, so that's how we use it. So we never use them. Yeah. So they basically just collected dust. Like, we just didn't even need them. So that one to me is like really not a big deal. Like, Disney, if you want to charge for magic bands, like, that's fine. I don't think they're necessary. So I'm not bothered by that, are you?
No, I won't miss the magic bands. It's fine.
And speaking of room keys, let's just hop over to resorts and extra magic hours. The biggest change, I would say, well, there's two parts here, right? So now if you are a Walt Disney World resort guest, you can get in, I think, every day 30 minutes early, which that sounds great. Like, you're staying on property, you can get in 30 minutes early to any park, any day, great. However, how much can you really do in 30 minutes?
The only thing I'd say to that is the parks typically open prior to their opening anyway, so 30 minutes is probably going to end up being 45 or maybe even more. So,
oh, you think they'll let you in earlier than the 30 minutes?
I only say that because if there starts to be like a crowd forming at the gate, they typically just start letting you file in. So,
see, I was thinking that.
Do you think it's going to be a hard, like?
Well, you get in 30 minutes early, but then they let the non-resort guests
see, that I definitely don't think they'll do.
Well,
that I think will be a firm.
Back in the old days, the old extra magic hours, we would get there, you'd get a full hour instead of 30 minutes. But I would feel like 15, 20 minutes before park open, they started letting everyone else in. So you really only got like 40, 45 minutes before everyone else came in, which is still a lot of time, sort of, but it's not really an extra magic hour. Like, they're letting people in. So my thought is, like, if they let you in 30 minutes early, and they were strict about that back then.
Yes. I think, though, well, we'll see. We'll see how strict they are. I'd also be curious on what percentage of the people actually in the parks are staying at the resorts. I'd have to look into that. Because I feel like everyone stays at the resorts. Well, obviously not the locals. Not people who are there locally.
Historically,
but are the locals usually there right as the gates open? Or because they're so close, they don't...
I don't know.
You don't have to spend the day there.
Historically, for Walt Disney World, it's been about 70% of people are not Florida residents, not locals. Or just not locals. Maybe you're a Florida resident, just not local. And then the other 30% are your locals. So,
And then I wonder what percent of that 70 is staying on property. So, I mean, they keep building hotels, so they must have demand.
So here's where it gets a little interesting. If you want to have access to extra magic hours in the evening, you must be staying at a deluxe resort. I get it. Some people feel like you're paying more money, like you want to have better access to things, but we've stayed at all. We've stayed at value, moderate, deluxe, and for me, when we stay at a deluxe, you're paying for the property. Like, you're paying for what you have access to on that property, not the parks. Like, that's something completely separate. So when you stay in a value, you have just your food court, you have your more cartoony type decor in your room, and just the resort in general. Moderate's a little bit step up from that, and then deluxe, you're staying at really nice hotel. I mean, they're all nice hotels, but you're staying at it's a different experience. So for me, there's more things to do at the deluxe. I feel like you're already paying for that when you stay at a deluxe. Like, when we stayed Boardwalk, we stayed concierge service. It was like our 1-year wedding anniversary, and you're paying more to have the concierge service. Like, there's more things to do at the Boardwalk. You're walking distance to Epcot, a boat ride, or like walking distance to Hollywood Studios. So now, if you're staying at value or moderate, you don't have access to those evening magic hours.
Yeah, this one I'm okay with, because we've stayed at all of the types of resorts there. There's only a few hotels we haven't stayed in at all. And when we do decide to stay at a deluxe, I don't mind that there becomes extra perks with staying at a deluxe, because you are paying more money. I realize that, like, the amenities you're getting at those resorts is what you're paying for, but I'm okay with there being extra perks too. But those are usually the hotels that are closest to the parks, So you could take advantage of it more at those deluxe resorts because you're sometimes walking distance from the park. So I'm okay with it. I also want to see, as a result of this, well, now the prices of the deluxe hotels go up because now they're adding an extra perk. They're adding an extra perk. So
one last thing I want to talk about: Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Gone. We know this. So they now have Boo Bash. They now have the Christmas party. For Boo Bash, the price check on that, it varies. If you guys want more info, we'll link it down below because it's a calendar and the prices are different depending on the day. As you get closer to Halloween, obviously it's going to get more expensive, or the day of the week. But previously, we went 2 years ago in August when I was pregnant with Winnie to what was Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I don't remember what we paid, but it was significantly less, maybe half of what it was now. And back then you still had parades, you had the Hocus Pocus show, the castle shows. There was just a lot more that you were getting. Fireworks and everything else. Now this year you're not getting all of that and you're paying like double the price. So I get that you have access to the park when it's not at capacity, but also they're not going to have traditional character meet and greets. So how long do we wait for Jack and Sally? That wasn't the last one. That was a few years ago when we went. And how long do we wait?
We waited a long time. Was that at Christmas or was that?
That was Halloween.
That was also Halloween.
Yeah.
We waited a while.
Like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, we did.
So the point of that is you're not going to have people in those lines. They're going to be on the lines for rides, right?
Yeah, and when we went to Not So Scary 2 years ago, it didn't really seem like that the capacity was that much less.
No, it didn't.
It seemed like it was like a normal
yeah.
It actually seemed, all of a sudden it seemed like it was midday in Magic Kingdom, except it was like transferred to the evening. So it had like midday kind of crowds, which was...
Yeah, because I had gone years ago, probably maybe like 10 years ago, I went to the Very Merry Christmas Party, and it was like you could literally walk onto rides and you waited maybe 10 minutes to meet characters. Like they definitely increased the capacity over years.
Yeah, and maybe that's why they're increasing the price, because maybe people complain that they're paying this money and you can't do as much as you would like.
Well, do you think that they're lowering capacity though? I don't think they're lowering the capacity.
Well, it might just happen out of prices go up, demand goes down. There might just be less capacity as a result of that.
Now, actually, you make a good point though, even though you weren't making that point. If you were to tell me that the capacity was going down, but the price is going up, I'd actually be okay with that, because at least then you know.
That was the point I was making, but also...
But I don't think that's what they're doing. But if that were the case...
They might be doing that.
I don't know.
Because it seems like the capacity had been going up, and there was also, as you said, they're offering less, right? They're not having character meet and greets, so we'll see. It's going to...
There's no parade. I think they're just having the cavalcades, but there's no regular parade, no stage shows, so... Christmas is going to be a little bit different. I know they're going to have the fireworks and parades, but you're still not getting the full experience. Okay, guys, that is just a lot that's a lot there. So we did decide to make this into a two-part video just because our plan was to make it one, but we ended up, going deeper into the Genie Plus system. And then we did want to discuss some of the other changes. We really want to hear your feedback. Like, I don't know how many times I said let us know in the comments down below, because we really want to hear from you guys and we want to hear your thoughts on this. What are you guys thinking about all of these changes and, having to pay more money? Do you think it's worth it? Some things we think are worth it. Some things don't matter to us at all or are not going to impact us. And other things, it's going to be tough for us to make decisions on what we want to do. So let us know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on all of this. And if you haven't watched part one, make sure you check that out. I'll link it up here and down below. And with that, Winnie is still sleeping, so you will not get to see her today. But if you guys like this video, please
give it a thumbs up.
Subscribe if you're new.
Ding that notification bell.
And leave us a comment. And with that, we'll see you real soon. Bye.
See you at the park.